Hello, darlings. Are you all out there? I am so happy to be here and to know that you're out there. It's 8 o'clock. It's May 21st. The sun has just dipped below the horizon here. The treetops are still glowing when I'm sitting in my office, which is up on the second floor. Hello, Emily, darling. Mwah. Hi, Grace. How am I doing today? Hello, Cora. Mwah. In Holland. I hope things are okay over there. It's not been good in Belgium. Hello, Therese. Hello. Wendy, hi. Chris, my night. Hello, Chris, my night. Ah, how lovely. Hello, everybody. If you wait a few more minutes for folks to come in, and then I'll give you my update. Hello, Julia. Good morning from Australia. Sun is setting, sun is rising. How lovely, perfect balance. Hello, Elizabeth. Bonjour de Montreal. Bonjour. We were just talking about whether we were going to need to move to Canada, and if so, Montreal. First thought, top of the list. Oh, but on the other hand, Sicilia. Alessandra, come stai? Mwah, bacetti. Anna Hekla, hello. Ciao, Anna. Putuo Shan, hello, hi. Sarah, hello, Sarah. Isabel Lopez, I am feeling much better. I'm going to tell you all about it in a few more minutes. You can tell, right? Look, I'm smiling and I'm back at my desk. I'm at my workstation instead of in my big, comfortable, easy chair in front of my thousands and thousands of books. Oh, goodness. So folks are coming on board. How lovely. Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. Hello. Hello. Oh, I see Pat. Hi, Pat. Hi. Oh, my goodness. So lovely. Okay, couple more minutes and I'll start talking again. I like the easy chair too. But this is, if I sit in my easy chair, I might start saying a lot. I noticed how much I watched the first few minutes. I'm just going to chatter for a few minutes while everybody gets here. Hey, hi, Pat. Hi. I watched the first few minutes of last month, and I saw how tired I was and breathless and how foggy my brain still was. I kept saying and stopping. Hello. Hi, Joanne from Vancouver. Hello, dear. How are you? 3 hours earlier, so it's still sunny and bright there. So beautiful, Vancouver. So I really had no idea how bad I was until I felt better. So now I'll talk about that. So 29, hello all. So I'm just going to pause for a moment and ask you to join me. Hi, Susan. Hello. I am feeling much better. And I can breathe. And I can take a deep breath without coughing and without feeling like I'm suffocating. So, hi, Shelley. Hi from Rochester. Rochester. You guys have been through it too. I am feeling so much better. And it's amazing how phenomenal normal feels. I feel like I have superpowers. And as soon as I could start to breathe normally, as soon as this thing had left my system and I was breathing and I was getting oxygen and my brain cleared and my energy came back and started to move and my mood was just like night and day. And I realized how sick I had been. Hi, Nicole. Hi. Yes, it's amazing how fabulous normal feels. And in fact, it's like having superpowers. It's magical. It's been extraordinary. And as Chris knows, I have been like on fire. I mean, like work, more work. We're doing a new website. We're doing a whole thing with Instagram. I've started a book project that I've been wanting to do for, my goodness, about 8 years with dear friend Pat Farrow. I'm starting my other book on the principles. I mean, probably like too much juggling, too many things, but it feels like I'm so lucky to be here that I don't want to waste a minute. And just having normal energy, I suddenly realize how blessed that is and how lucky I am. And so I want to take a moment also in the midst of being incredibly grateful to be here and incredibly grateful to be here with you guys, to honor those who have left, who weren't able to recover, who couldn't make it through, because this thing is vicious, and especially if you're vulnerable, a lot of people are dying, and a lot of people have died unnecessarily because of the mistakes that have been made, and the lack of action, and because of magical thinking, which is one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. And so a moment, more than a moment, but at least now a moment to honor them and to send love and energy and healing energy to our Native brothers and sisters in this land, particularly the Navajo and the Hopi, who are very hard hit right now and need practical help as well as energetic help. So, hi, Jen. Hi, Ryan. How lovely. From the Philippines. Oh my goodness. How marvelous. So I guess it's kind of morning there in the Philippines as well. I'm so touched. There are people from all over the world. Hi, Kelsang. Hello. How are you? I'm so honored that you are here with us. We have people from all over the world. It's remarkable. I've started doing readings again, and in 1 week I did a reading for someone who was in India and Tasmania, and it's just been amazing for me. And I've gotten a lot of love from folks who have been worried about how I've been, and I think that you all contributed enormously to my recovering. So thank you. And in that moment of deep breath that we took, and in thinking of others, that the energy of good health and love and blessings that we are here goes out to those who need it. And there'll be more who will. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is I'm sort of thinking through things, and I wanted to thank you all for being so kind and loving and patient and generous with me. Hi, Johanna from Nebraska. Oh my goodness. Hello, Claudia from Argentina. Hello. Mwah. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Where it is becoming winter as we're heading towards summer. Balance in all things. So thank you for indulging me. And I'm going to ask you to indulge me a little bit more. I had my outline all worked out for tonight, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a really long time. And then, in a certain sense, my own well-organized jigsaw puzzle. I put all the pieces together, and I had this picture that I wanted to present to you and explore with you. Kind of the table got smacked from underneath today, and all the pieces kind of flew up in the air. I was talking to Chris earlier today, and I was like, I'm feeling a little wasted again and a little lost focus. Not as bad as when I was sick, but all of a sudden, all the pieces are up in the air, and I'm not sure that I have the mental focus to do this tonight. And he said, well, take your outline and go as far as you want to go. Because last time I did a lot of personal talking, which I'm not used to doing, and I may end up doing that again tonight to explain to you how the pieces got knocked up into the air. I was thinking about how the news I got today, which is a health issue, was related to what I had wanted to talk to you about. Alison Gross, my darling cousin. Mwah! Talk about people all over the world. I've been connected with my cousins this week, which makes perfect sense. Hello, Leo. Also from Italy, where it is late. And Anna, again, you sound and look sunny, refreshed, and powerful. Thank you very much. Superpowers. That's what life gives you, just being alive. So I'm going to start with what I intended to do, and bear with me, because I may go off on a tangent, and I may spiral down a magical rabbit hole with you. I used to do this at PSG, Pagan Spirit Gathering, in June. I would at solstice I would come with my well thought out outline, and then meander a bit. So hi, Anne. It's wonderful. I'm so touched and so thrilled that you're all here. So this is something that I've been thinking about forever, and something I'm thinking about in a very new way, because of the coronavirus and how it's connecting us all over the globe, and what it means, and that I'm thinking about in an incredibly new way because of some new stuff that's been thrown into my own life suddenly. Another Italy! Oh, fantastico! I translated you here. Mwah! Grazie, Alicia. So, those of you who are practicing indigenous traditions, Wicca, witchcraft, pagan traditions, know that all work for us usually begins with what we call casting of circle. And it's an essential part of magical work, and is an ancient way of honoring the four directions, honoring our ancestors, honoring the divinity of the world in which we live, connecting ourselves to it, remembering where we are, and because we remember where we are, beginning to rediscover, as I always say, to remember why we're here. Remembering in the sense of returning to ourselves, healing, becoming whole again. And that's not possible on our own. That is only possible in connection to the divinity of the world in which we reside, to each other, to the air and the fire and the water and the earth, and to the animals and the plants and the spirit beings, by whatever names your culture refers to them, whether it's power animals or angels or devis or divas or guardian spirits, the spirits, the spirit beings who reside here with us, and who have tremendous love and compassion for us. The beginning of all sacred spiritual work, the beginning of my day, begins always in honoring the four directions, the sun above and the earth below, and of remembering where I am and why I'm here, returning to my place in this extraordinary holy creation. When I began practicing, magic was defined as the art of changing consciousness at will, which was a definition provided first by Dion Fortune, who was a member of the Golden Dawn, which was this largely ceremonial, magical order in England, with a lot of Irish folks as well. Yeats was a member, Lady Gregory. It was really a remarkable, brilliant group of folks. And they were rediscovering lost wisdom within the Western traditions, our indigenous wisdom traditions, but they were very much the creatures of their time, very much, although radicals and revolutionaries and spiritual pioneers, they were still the creatures of their era. How could they not be, just as we are, right? And so they were quite Victorian in many ways. And a great deal of the magic that they were rediscovering and retrieving from Renaissance period and somewhat before to the mysterious magical orders that may or may not have existed in the 1700s and the 1800s, and the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians and the Egyptian traditions and the Greek traditions. They were still very Victorian, raised as they were within a Christian culture, very radical in their discovery of the Kabbalah and the integration of the Kabbalah into magical systems and their magical thinkings. But being who they were, so much of their magic was from the neck up. It was in the mind. Hence, magic is the art of changing consciousness at will, to which Aleister Crowley then added, and having changed consciousness at will, we then are able to change circumstances. We are able to change life. And that idea of setting an intention, and then through force of will, right? The art of changing consciousness at will, I will, right? Is still very much at the heart of contemporary Wicca, witchcraft, pagan traditions, and even more so in this sort of current generation, what folks refer to as Instagram witches, the young, mostly women, but not exclusively, who are now discovering witchcraft and embracing it with full feminist fervor, but who are, hi Elizabeth, who are kind of practicing it without realizing it in this very Victorian English ceremonial magical way, rather than, as I think, a witcha, 5,500-year-old word meant a wise one, a shaman, would in fact practice magic. So it's, right, magical thinking, the idea that there's value in it and there's truth in it, right? That we begin in the east, we begin in the direction of air when we cast a circle. We begin with the power of the mind, and we certainly set an intention. But we don't just set an intention, because a large part of the work is about opening the mind and seeing beyond the ego and beyond what the ego wants and what I intend, what I will, to intuitive wisdom, to a different kind of wisdom that requires us going full circle from air to fire, will, and then to water, to the realm of the heart, and then to the north, to the earth, to the realm of embodiment, to the wisdom of the body and action. And then back, we return to the east, transformed by the journey through all of these elements, to stand at the center where we're balanced, where each of these aspects of being, each of the wisdom teachings of the natural world, of air and fire and water and earth, have been in communion with us, and we have been in communion with it. And we've been transformed by it and have been made wise in a way that we would never have been made wise if we had remained only in the East, only in the realm of thought or information or intention. So, magical thinking. So, what got me going on this is that I'm hearing, just as I've been hearing an awful lot of, witch hunts and, this is a witch hunt, this is a witch hunt. We're hearing that endlessly, with coming from the halls of power. There's been a tremendous amount of magical thinking coming from that direction as well in the last few months. Literally, right? Where we have literally heard president and son talk about this virus disappearing, as if magically disappearing, that it will just disappear. Magical thinking. That what I want, because I can conceive it, I can make it so, because I say so. And at the heart of that is that it's kind of dark art, actually, right? It's if it remains only in the realm of what I want, and because I say so, and because it is what I think, if I think it, it will happen, it's disconnected from reality, and it falls prey to denial, to lying. And it's susceptible, it's used in fascist systems where reality is turned upside down, fake news, okay? And lies are thrown out all the time, and you become disoriented. You become disconnected from truth. You become disconnected from reality. There is fundamental to that kind of magical thinking is a denial of reality. And there's a consequence to that denial of reality. There's a failure to take responsibility, right? There's a failure to act. And the consequences of that, as we're seeing now, as we're approaching tonight, 95,000 people dead, 100,000 by the end of the month. That's astonishing. In 3 months, 100,000 people. And this is a virus that is not like a flu. It was described to me as one reason that people die from the flu is that the flu opens the door and then pneumonia comes in to those who have weakened immune systems. And what we're learning is a comorbidity, and then a person can die. So the flu opens the door, pneumonia comes in, and then if there's a difficulty, the person succumbs. This has been described as the flu, pneumonia, and a bomb going off all at once. So it comes into the system, and the system goes into collapse or overproduction of the immune system, overstimulation of the immune system, which in effect attacks the body. And there's a lot they don't know about it. So there's a failure to act because we're thinking it'll just go away, or I'll paint a pretty picture. I will tell you lies, and lies will be enough to paper over the reality of illness and death and loss and grief. And it's not true. And people will believe the lies. People will tolerate the failure to act until, of course, it comes to them with the loss of someone that they love or their own illness. So we see people made susceptible to magical thinking, going out without a mask, going out into public situations, standing close to people, coughing, disconnected from the other people in the world around them, disconnected from a sense of responsibility in a world that's intimately interconnected. And now we're seeing so clearly deeply interdependent. What happens in China has affected me here on the East End of Long Island. What I do on the East End of Long Island could affect you. Hello, Danielle, in Belgium or in Tasmania or in the Philippines. We are all connected. And in part because we didn't learn the lesson, which was everywhere present for us in the breath that we take in and the breath that we're blessed to be able to give back, in the way the sun draws forth life from the earth and makes us all grow and nourishes us, in the waters of life without which we can't live for only a short time without water, the earth itself that every day nourishes us and sustains us in countless ways. We are intimately interconnected with the world in which we live, and we're blessed every day by the elements and by the other creatures and the plants of this planet to whom we're deeply, profoundly connected. We're blessed by them with life. They give us the gift of life. We've lived disconnected from that, and it's made us susceptible to magical thinking, and it's made us susceptible to selfish behavior, a confusion of the definition of freedom with selfishness. That I remember as a young lawyer, I was taught that my freedom to swing my fist ends 6 inches from your nose. Nowadays, it's more like a foot or 2 feet, right? Or 6 feet, right? My freedom of speech ends at yelling fire when there isn't one in a crowded theater. My right to own a gun ends if I point it at you, right? So we've forgotten that with freedom comes responsibility. Hi, Daniel. Hi. With freedom comes responsibility. Why? Because we're intimately interconnected. We're dependent upon each other. And this virus is teaching us that. There are those who know it. The frontline workers, the healthcare workers, and the frontline workers know that, and they're putting themselves on the line for all of us. And it's our responsibility to help them by not infecting each other, right? So as things open up, mask, social distance, be careful, be cautious, be wise, right? Be thoughtful, be compassionate, be connected. Remember that you're connected, and what you do will affect a person 6 feet from you or the person who enters the room after you've left. We are truly all connected. But in magical thinking, we're disconnected. So we think, that consciousness, that magic is the art of changing consciousness at will. Well, to what end? Right? To what end? So when I first started practicing magic, the possibility that I might be able to change consciousness, and by changing my consciousness could then influence the outcome of events, was intoxicating to me, especially as a young woman 40 years ago in a world that was far more hostile to women and professional women then than it is now, and it's still dreadful. At the time it was 76 cents on the dollar. Now I think it's a big 78 cents on the dollar, right? And it's the statistics in terms of violence against women is still 1 in 3 women in the world, in the United States, 1 in 4 will have experienced some form of sexual violence. 1 in 3. So the art of changing consciousness at will was so empowering. And the possibility, that I might, through the focusing of my concentration, the visualization of an outcome that I desired, and by sheer force of will, of investment in that idea, that visualization, that goal, that I could transform events around me in order to manifest it, was deeply empowering. And of course, then as you begin to cast a circle and learn magical practices, sympathetic magic, ritual, chanting, dancing, ecstatic practices, raising energy, and investing that energy in the idea so that it would then manifest on the material plane, was very effective. It often worked. Very often it didn't work in the way in which I expected it to or had intended, which over time, it taught me to be cautious and careful and respectful. And increasingly, I could see how the deep longings and the patterns in the unconscious would rise to the surface and manifest through an act of magic. And that taught me to be cautious. I learned to be cautious, never to practice magic in any way if I was angry or hurt or injured, because that energy could manifest in unexpected ways. But gradually over time, I began to realize that the idea of controlling the world through the power of the mind and the force of will was patriarchal. It was a different idea about magic and the purpose of magic and the nature of magic and the role of magic and who we are and where we are and why we're here. I began to realize that the greatest magic that I'd ever experienced, and that was what I tried to describe in my first book, in Book of Shadows. Hey, Janine. Was not the magic of manipulation of mechanical manipulation through supernatural power or through the power of my mind for ego purposes, for self-gratification. The universe was not mechanical. And magic was not just sort of mechanical manipulation of supernatural powers or supernatural powers of the mind and the force of will. Magic was the experience of a divine communion with a numinous quality of being that was far greater than my single being. And when I looked at my life, I began to recognize that the greatest magic I'd ever experienced was not the stuff that I intended for myself, although my heavens, it was amazing. And, I manifested all sorts of things, from jobs to husbands to, but success, all kinds of amazing things, right? How can I use magic if I've been bullied? Well, I don't know if we'll get to that tonight, but we'll get to it at some point. As I looked at my own life, as I was maturing, I began to recognize that this early idea of magic flowing from magical thinking was incomplete. It was halfway around the circle. And so it might work, for example, if you've been bullied, by putting a bubble of protection around you and, by seeing it clearly and pushing that person away. And they'll go. But elements of magic were missing from that early definition and from much of the way in which I was practicing, even though we were working our way all around the circle. Magic, modern magic, the art of changing consciousness at will, that's rooted in I think, I intend, I will, and then I make a little sigil, or I carve a candle, or I do a puppet, or I make a potion or a talisman. I make magic in any one of a number of marvelous and really creative ways. Is incomplete. To some extent, it's what I was talking to my dear friend Fiona Horn, the most fabulous witch from Australia, now living in St. Thomas. And she was talking about, and the longer a witch practices, no matter how she practices or he practices, we all sort of mature along this journey, and the magic becomes less and less egoic. She calls it egoic, ego-driven magic. I want, I need, I have to have, right? Like the Buddhist ideas of desire and lust, and right. And we move gradually away from the desire to manipulate in order to have. Thanks, Jen, my Shiros. I love that. We move away from that to a bigger picture. The art of changing consciousness at will. And consciousness begins to expand from the mind and will to the wisdom of the heart that is embodied, literally, by ourselves, intimately interconnected to the embodiment of creation. And so we continue on this journey to the realm of water, which is the realm of the heart, the realm of love, of compassion, of connection to our ancestors, to an understanding, because water is a messenger, and what we put in the water is carried throughout creation, that everything is connected, and it's connected through love. And that love, that experience of love, generates in us the most profound sense of connection and compassion for one another. And when we continue then to earth, we and the realm of creation, the realm of embodiment, the wisdom of the body, your body, the wisdom of the earth, the embodiment of the sacred, of spirit, we come into the realm of healing, right? That earth is the element of embodiment and nourishment. It's the mother, it's creation, it's fertility, it's life itself, nourishing life. But it requires of us action, right? So we've moved from thinking something into being to finding the courage and the energy and the inspiration of the thought, which energizes us and activates within us a sense of capacity. But without water, without love, without compassion, fire burns and devastates and destroys. So water tempers fire, and together they create an energy, right, that can transform a world. But water tempers fire, keeps it in check, keeps it in balance. Hi, SP. But it isn't until we move on, not end, but move on to the realm of earth, that we're called to act upon our ideas, to act upon the love that we've experienced in the realm of water in the West, reminded by our ancestors that we're not alone, reminded of the love that brought us into the world and that nourished and sustained us and taught us how to dream. When we come to the north, or for us in the Northern Hemisphere, we come into the realm of creation, and it requires from us action, right? That we have to act in accord. We have to act in accord with creation, not just with what we want or what we envision for ourselves, and not just what our will, has determined we will go out and get, and not even just what we long for, what we pine for, what we yearn for, what we dream of, but rather what is possible in a realm that's intimately interconnected. And that's also where love and compassion is essential, because it tempers our ego and it makes us open to the rest of creation and the needs of creation. So we move with compassion. And when we enter the realm of the earth, with that sense of compassion, we're able to bear witness to the innate generosity of creation, the magic of true abundance, the law of abundance and the magic of abundance, which is nature, that when you plant one seed, if you plant one little kernel of corn, you get thousands, right? You plant one apple seed and the tree grows and you get thousands of apples year after year after year. The nature of nature is abundance. And when you come with compassion, what it evokes in you is generosity, right? The desire to give back, tremendous gratitude. I mean, the first thing that I felt when I awoke from the COVID coma, the fog of not having enough oxygen in my brain and in my body, was this sense of incredible gratitude that I was alive and that I was supported. And just in taking that breath and being able to feel, and part of, I think, my recovery was in slow, careful, conscious breathing, where I was asking the plants who were just coming alive and just starting to bud and starting to blossom, and the trees were just starting to leave out a little bit, to help me to be able to bring in the breath of life that they were giving me, to bring in that breath of life, that vitality, that energy of life, even though I wasn't getting enough of it, that it would be enough to help me to recover. And the first thing I did when I was able to take those first deep breaths was to go outside and to thank them, and to nourish them. We went out and we fed all the plants and we watered all the plants. So the art of changing consciousness at will, magical thinking, is incomplete without the heart and the body, which is aware, consciousness, right, is aware of its, is paying attention to the countless interconnections that are nourishing our bodies and our hearts and our spirits and our minds. We've gone through and are going through and are going to go through a prolonged and difficult period. And there are those who are going to indulge in the worst kind of magical thinking of lies and denial and the mistaken notions of freedom without, there is no freedom without responsibility, but, right? Denials of reality, denials of the reality of our intimate interconnections and interdependence and the responsibilities that come with that. The lesson is being offered to us first, where it's most easily learned, which is with each other, right? And unfortunately, there are those who still haven't learned it and may not learn it until it comes home, literally, to them or to someone that they love, and it may take that. But in that experience, in that embodiment of loss and connection, they'll begin to move, I think, out of wrong magical thinking and into right magical thinking. Right magical thinking, I think, comes at the end of the journey of the circle, where we move from an idea and a desire and a notion and a goal and a thought and an impulse to find our courage to try to make it manifest, to an opening of the heart to something greater than ourselves, to the love that those around us feel for us and that we feel for others. And it's through that love and potentially the loss of what we love that we begin to realize how connected we are and how important that is. For me, also, it is in the wounding of the body that that healing begins, right? So in a certain sense, one of the things that has come out of this terrible experience is the making visible, the making visible of the wounds in the culture, the things that need healing, right? So we discover things that were already known, but now have been laid bare, that have been made visible, that, and I talked a little bit about this a month ago, that, and I hope you're hearing it a lot, that we're all being made aware, that our consciousness is changing, which is not enough. Our hearts have to open and flood with love and compassion. And then we have to act in accord with that compassion. We have to take action. We have to act upon the discovery that there are those who are suffering because they are Black, because they are brown, because they are poor, because their diet suffer, because they develop obesity, because they're smoking, because they have worse health because of poverty and because of racism, and right, because they're indigenous and are suffering. The problems in our healthcare system have been laid bare. The problems in our government have been laid bare. It's the agencies that we once depended upon that were impeccable, flawed, but remarkable. The pride of the world over, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, in tatters and shambles. the person in whom we placed our greatest trust to help lead the charge, to help organize, to analyze, figure out the problem, determine what the solutions are, work cooperatively, inspire, motivate, organize, and precipitate the necessary in order to heal, to protect, to secure the well-being of the nation, has abdicated all responsibility. So we've seen through illness, right, through wounding, we see what's broken. And so we become wise. We travel full circle, right? And we see where there's a hole in the heart, where there's failures of action, where there's lies, where ego and willfulness and lust for power drives. And we see where the wounds in our culture lie. The point is, you cannot cure what you cannot see. You can't heal until you've been wounded. To be a healer, you have to have undergone a wounding in order to heal and to know how to heal, and then to be able to heal not only yourself, but then to heal others. And the cracks are how we begin to see in this crisis. Now we see what is broken, and therefore what needs to be fixed, what needs to be healed. And we learn the lessons. And in learning the lessons, we become wise. And becoming wise, we've integrated compassion, right? And true inspiration and service, rather than a lust for power. It's the power to serve. And we've moved then into activism, not just action, but activism, where we're serving something greater than ourselves. And in serving something greater than ourselves, we become greater than we were. And that is the real magic of Circle. Then when we stand at the center, we truly are standing in the place of the altar, where spirit and earth are connected in us, in our hearts. Christine put up that beautiful illustration that the divine is embodied by us, in us. And magic then is truly experienced, not just as this idea of, I need a boyfriend, I'm going to do a love spell, but magic. My heart is open. My mind has changed. It has opened. My heart has opened. My body has been opened by illness, right? By the suffering of others, by my recognition of our intimate interconnections and interdependency, and my capacity to heal myself. And so my desire then also to heal others, to heal the earth, to help others to heal. And I experience magic, not in an ego-driven way, but as the presence of the sacred that then flows into my opened heart and from me, through me, into the world. Right? So it comes in from the world, from realms of spirit, from the divine embodied by creation. It flows into me with the air that I can breathe, for which I am so grateful. I can't begin to express. And the water I drink, and the food that I'm blessed to be able to eat, and the people that I love who've been there for me and who have managed to survive. I am so deeply grateful for all of you that you're here. And I recognize that magic is not just this simple manipulation. It is not just, what I say it is, what I want and what I say it is, and what I stick my will to, but it is what my heart has discovered and opened to. A number of years ago, and we're almost to the end of the time, so I'm just gonna, I'm gonna save the other part of what I thought I would talk about tonight, which is the idea of the hole in the heart. I'm gonna say that for another time. Yeah, I'm going to save that for another time. So I just want to encourage you that the simple act of casting a circle is a profound meditation. It's a deeply sacred act. It is, in and of itself, an act of profound magic. I sound like a Buddhist. Yeah, yeah. Because at the heart, at the heart of all of these ways, if you walk them with true openness of spirit, then our paths are unique, but we're in the same sacred landscape. Yes, yeah. And Kelsang, which comes from a 5,500-year-old Proto-Indo-European word. So the same culture from which Indian culture and Western European culture, yeah, the twins, one went this way, the other went that way. And the word witcha, it was Proto-Indo-European 5,500 years ago. It meant wise one. It meant a shaman. So yeah, of course it sounds like Buddhism. It also sounds like elements of Taoism and Hinduism and other indigenous traditions. Because we're all in the same sacred landscape. And if we're using our practice as well, we're all starting to see the same sacred wisdom. So I want to encourage you to take a moment in the morning and honor the blessings of air and the plants that give us the breath of life. And take a moment to honor your consciousness, your awareness. For me, especially the last week, it's been very much about clarity of mind and clarity of communication. And then the South with the blessings of fire, which truly the direction of energy for me is joy now. I learned this so much from the element of fire when we were creating the Witch's Wisdom Tarot deck. Maybe that's what I'll talk about next time. I have some wonderful cards and I'll read you some text. That it's not just about will or power, it's about joy. And what is the point of energy if not joy? And then to the West, to remember your ancestors, your grandparents, or in my case, my grandparents and my parents, those I love who've gone before me, and to thank them for bringing me into the world, bringing you into the world, and to feel the love that they had for you and that you have for them, and to feel the blessings that love bestows upon us when our hearts are open, and then to face the North and honor Mother Earth, who has had a chance to recover while we have been hiding in our homes where we need to be in order to break the grip of the virus, because it doesn't have legs. It has to use us to travel. By not allowing it to travel and remaining in our homes, Mother Earth has had a chance to recover. I posted that wonderful video of the animals taking back the planet. There are fish and jellyfish in the canals in Venice, and there are monkeys swimming in the pools and penguins going through the streets and cougars in art. I mean, it's just, and the pollution has cleared, and you can see the Himalayas, and you can see the top of the Eiffel Tower. I could cry how quickly she begins to recover if we simply stop abusing her. So among the lessons that I've learned in coming out of this is, yes, to see the things that are broken, the wounds that we have that in our culture that need to be healed. For me, again and again, I keep coming back to this again and again, that the greatest wound was in our separation from the planet, from Mother Earth, from creation, from the animals and the plants, and this magical thinking that we were in control, that we knew everything, and that nothing was more important than we. We were the most important things, and because of our minds that we knew how to control and had a right to control everything. This experience has a great lesson about interconnection and interdependence, and also about humility. So if there is one thing above all that requires healing, it's our separation from the sacred embodied by Mother Earth. And as we heal ourselves now, and we heal each other, and we recognize how interconnected we are, I hope, my prayer, my magic, my heart wish is that we see how interconnected and interdependent we are, and how much responsibility we have for helping to help Mother Earth heal. And some of that responsibility is simply in ceasing to do the things that we're doing harm. First, do no harm. The doctor's credo, the healer's credo. So each of you is a wise one, and so a healer, and each of us has gone through this period. Some of us won't get sick, but all of us who do will heal. And in healing ourselves during this time where we are, just through the absence of doing harm, we're healing the earth. When we come out, there are lessons about the impact that we have on her that we all need to learn, and that we need to be particularly mindful of, and that we need to be particularly active. So we learn the lesson, we experience the rush of joy and inspiration, our hearts open with love and with gratitude. We turn to the north, and we give thanks, and we're inspired to act in accord with what we've learned. And in turning back to the east, we have wisdom, and we know that we stand at the center where the sacred and the material are one. And I wish you that magic. I wish you the magic of revelation, of inspiration, of wonder and dreaming, and the manifestation that comes from acting in accord, and the extraordinary blessing of standing at the center of the sacred circle of your life, and knowing that the magic of the divine flows from spirit into you, from Mother Earth into you, that the two twine within you and offer themselves to you for the magic that's your life. And I am just deeply grateful that you all came to spend this time with me, that you all sent me so much love and energy and compassion and concern. And I am doing way, 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 way better. And normal really means that you have superpowers, and your life really is your magic. And so I wish you a magical month. And I'm going to see you again in about a month, which will be very close, if not on, the summer solstice. Oh my goodness. The longest day and the shortest night. And I think we're going to do, maybe we'll do a little Witch's Wisdom Tarot, and maybe we will do some more magic together. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Having cast a circle this month, maybe next month we'll go right smack into the center of the circle and we'll do some magic together. So please stay healthy. If you go out, wear your masks, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Be aware that you're wearing the mask to protect others, and washing your hands is to protect yourself. And get outside. Do get outside and enjoy this blessed time. And if you're headed towards winter solstice and the longest night and the shortest day, stay bundled up and stay nice and warm. And everybody, please be safe. And I love you all. I really love you all. I'm so grateful for you. And I'm really grateful to be here with you. Thank you. Bye. I will look over the comments over the next couple of days and answer them. Okay? All right. Blessings, everybody. Stay healthy. Stay magical. Bye.